Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. We're broadcasting from Savannah, Georgia.
That's right. It's part of our route home. We have a kind of an eastern swing. We're doing an eastern seaboard swing, and now we're clear over by the coast and on our way back to Florida.
Yeah, I've been here before, and this is a really quick stop. And Jim's never been to Savannah before, so we were discussing about how we need to come and spend a little bit of time because I just really enjoy this area a lot.
Yeah, she's teasing me with a quick pass through here, so we get to see. But yeah, it's obviously a fun area. I would love to be able to spend more time. Today we got to get down to buy here, pay here business.
Well, we do, but before that, go ahead and shout out where you're listening from. Please. And we're really happy to have you all here this morning to join us. And so buy here, pay your business. Should we do announcements first or just reminders? I know that everyone is they get to hear it every morning, but hey, it's kind of like the school bell rings and you get the announcements for the week. Except we're not going to talk about what we're eating for lunch.
Why not?
Because I don't know that yet.
Cafeteria.
It's not cafeteria food. Mm-hmm. We first off is this coming weekend is the Arizona Finance Conference. Mm-hmm. That those of you who are from Arizona, welcome to come. Anyone that's not from Arizona, welcome to come.
Right.
They're going to it's going to be mostly on just capital and the financial side of the business. Mm-hmm. So, and then the following week and a half later, the 9th, 10th, and 11th is the Super Forum.
Right.
That is something that if you have an opportunity to go, this is a completely different format. Really, really happy with what we've seen so far. There's a lot of buzz. It looks pretty good. So
good morning, Brett Buick.
And good morning.
Glad to have you tuned
Bill
in,
well.
Bill Elizondo.
You're from
I'm surprised
Charles.
These guys must be listening from an airplane. They're going to be going somewhere, right?
That's true. Yeah. It's they're on a travel circuit too.
Uh-huh.
It gets kind of busy. So yeah, the buyer payer super forum will be there. We'll also will be our addresses. Our addresses.
She
not
says
like
addresses,
where we live.
Our presentation.
Our presentation. Thank you. Will be broadcast.
Right.
So yeah, we're gonna make that something just for all the people.
You'll be able to tune in to find us live on Sunday. We have 2 sessions. One is on basically the buckets of money available in Buy Here Pay Here, like who are the sources, the types of sources, and we'll list some providers too, I'm sure. But we just so that'll be live, and then the other session is on business planning.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, for sure,
absolutely. So good morning, Tommy. Good morning, George. It's good to have you all here today.
We appreciate you tuning in. You make time to chime in and add to the conversation regularly, and we appreciate that.
And our user from Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. All right. So did you want any other announcements?
I can't think of
think of anything. Okay. And again, we don't know what we're having for lunch.
Yeah. Just barely did breakfast. So,
coffee for me.
Yeah.
We are here to talk a little bit about, everywhere we go, whatever forum, when we're talking to dealers, one of the things that comes up frequently is in this age of online payments. We love the ability for us to be able to offer our customers every option to be able to pay, make it easy, make it easy, make it easy, make it easy. Love that. There's always like a double-edged sword to things. There's the good and the bad, and the challenge with that we hear from a lot of dealers is then we don't see them. We don't, they don't see us. We don't see them.
Right.
And where we used to have just all this this weekly connection. We were talking to a dealer yesterday that we swung in and saw in the Charlotte area, and they were talking about how, like, it was pre-COVID, but like less than 10 years ago, that on a Friday, oh my gosh, there was a line out the door of people coming in to make their payment and to do their thing. And so you got a little touch, and it's just, we really have shifted that because of the convenience factors of how we allow people to pay, that there's just not the same connection. So what we wanted to talk to y'all about today was about how we're going to give you some tips on how you can create that, retain that.
Yeah. And it really starts at the point of closing. Like, I really had mine for today to talk mostly about the actual closing process, how we can communicate. So, this is White Hat Wednesday, and obviously part of our thread of the White Hat theme is transparency.
Yes.
And it also ties back to just communication. If we want the customer to be successful, then we want to make sure that we communicate as clearly as possible, because it kind of goes back to the thing. And there's an article at our website you can find about somebody messed up. What, you're smiling?
I'm smiling because it's like, I realize that you and I, it's the same topic, and we kind of, our minds were going in. We do this frequently, where it's they're different facets of the same subject. So go for it. Yeah.
So I think for today, I wanted to cover this idea of, when you communicate clearly at the point of the sale, then obviously it sets up collections and every other part of your business. But really, this thing that I keep referring back to, because it's an area where, obviously, with what Michelle and I do, we go in and, do an analysis, and we kind of examine bottlenecks and breakdowns and, parts of a business. Among the things that we see is that we often tend to point to somebody else, and we're a little reluctant to look at ourselves and our own processes and mistakes we might be making. And so this is why I kind of wrote the article about somebody messed up. It's like, it applies in sales, collections, all parts of our business. Like, we have to first look at ourselves. Is there something we could do? Well, in this case, I'm really saying, is there something more that we could do to communicate better to the customer to help them to be more successful? And obviously that leads to collections. But right now, I'm just thinking, you met a customer today, they're buying a car today. We don't know them very well, and we're about to step into a 3 or 4 year relationship with the customer. How can we communicate with them in a way that can help them to have the greatest chance of being successful?
Which dovetails into, what I was chatting about too, is about creating a connection so that they know you as well. Yeah.
It's all tied together. So what stage of the relationship are we in? And so I had in mind to talk about this thing about closing and how to close. So it's kind of like, you remember in school when they taught us how to write a little short story. They said, you open the story, you tell them what you're going to tell them.
Tell them
the story, and then wrap up by telling them
what you told them.
So this is tell them what you told them. So that's why I kind of chose this title for today's episode. It's like, let's tell the customer at the time of closing, here's how it's going to work. Here's what you can expect of us. And by the way, you can go to our website, octane.group, and you can find on the resources page, there's free resource page, there's a document called the Buyers and Sellers Understanding. You can totally download that, edit it to your own.
So valuable.
It's a document, but we all know, and we hear dealers say, we do it on a tablet, and some of our salespeople just rush, initial here. And the customer's not really understanding the whole thing. Yeah, their initials on the document, but it doesn't mean they really understood what they initialed. So we're trying to take it a step further, and the Buyers and Sellers Understanding is helpful. It's useful. Then I think beyond that, we would be recommending that we do the video, try to do a video at closing, so that we've got the ability to communicate with them even more specifically and more consistently. So again, it addresses that thing about, what did we say? Like, what if they initialed, did they really know? And so we started some years ago doing a closing video, just so it can be a simple video. And if I recorded one for a dealership, it might sound like, hey, thanks for coming to do business with us. We appreciate it. The fact that you're watching this video suggests that you've been approved. And so we're excited about that. And we're happy to have you doing business with us. And while your documents are being prepared, we just wanted to go through these few things with you. And those things would be whatever the dealer chose. And that might be This is an important thing to understand about how and where you make your payments. This is an important thing to understand about
Warranty.
your warranty and deductible, and what to
Mhm.
do in the case of you have a payment that's short, or if you have mechanical problems. It just kind of tries to communicate to them through video, which is the way most folks consume these days.
Absolutely.
So a little short video.
Yeah.
So now but the nice thing I like about that, if I'm a dealer, is I know that the customer heard the same thing every time.
Because one of the things that we hear dealers complain about it is like they're not talking about the thing,
Right.
or their finance associates or their salespeople. They're not talking about the thing, and that's what they consider a really big selling feature.
Sure.
Is the thing. And so this really gives you a great opportunity to highlight the thing,
Yeah.
and highlight the parts that you just want to make sure are highlighted. And we would suggest that from this buyers and sellers understanding is that the things you talk about in the video are also on the
Mhm.
buyers and sellers understanding. So like the most important parts, so that they're being told about
Mhm.
it, hopefully through the process, and they're being told about it through watching a video, and then they're being told about it again
Right.
as they're going through and initialing the buyers and sellers understanding.
It's more than just the phrasing too. It's like
Mhm.
the body language, it's the tone, it's all these things. So let me just be a dealer for a minute. And I'm going to ask our listeners to just be a customer. If you were taking delivery at a dealership that I owned or was managing, and you heard me say on video, listen, during the time that you're financing this car, there's just not going to probably be anything that comes up that we can't work through together. What we'd ask you to do is contact us, and just, there just won't probably be a single thing that comes up that we can't work through together. We just need to hear from you, and then we'll figure out what can be done. But when I say that, it's like that tone that I bring, that authenticity. I hope that they can see that I'm genuine in that. And so, how are you going to put that in a sentence and have a customer initial it? And you could write that out, but it's like the video is important because it lets the customer see you. It lets the customer understand who they're doing business with
Yeah.
at a different level. And so that's why I think video is so important. It lets us say the things that we want to say. It lets us use the tone that we want to use. It lets us express to the customer something really important. And now the customer just initials in their documents, yes, I watched the 7-minute video entitled such and such, and I don't have any questions. And now they
Mhm.
initial. And so we've got that. And then as you and I've talked about more recently, now we want to continue to follow through on that.
And that's really that's kind of dovetails into
Right.
what I started talking about at the
Sure.
beginning. Is we were sitting with a dealer a couple days ago, and talking about, all right, so the last time that you bought a car, the last time that you bought a house, whatever, and when you were getting through this process that was an hour to 3
Whatever the
hours or
closing.
whatever,
Yeah.
the closing process, that frequently you're like, let's just get this done. I want to
Mhm.
get out of here. I want the keys to my house, or I want the keys to the car. I want to get out of here. I'm excited about this. I've been approved. Now I'm excited to get going and
Yeah.
get moving. And there are very few people out there that you're going to have their undivided
Sure.
like attentions
Mhm.
during this closing process, where they're going to remember everything.
Yeah.
My older brother's one of those that would do that, but
Okay.
not me, not it.
Yeah.
And so, one of the reasons why it's a really great tool to be able to communicate the most important things, with the buyers and sellers understanding the video, and all of that, like through the sales process, hopefully they're going to pick up on some of that. Well, once they're done, once they're gone, once they've driven off the lot and they're like, woohoo,
Mhm.
got the new car, going to go show it to all my friends, going to go do the thing. I would imagine, this is me guessing, that most of what you communicated with them, they have forgotten
Yeah.
within 24 hours
Well, it's that
of, yeah.
drinking from a fire hose thing. Even
Yeah.
if they were attentive, I mean, sometimes they've got young kids there they're having to tend to as they go through this stuff and whatever.
Mhm.
It's like whatever other distractions
Mhm.
they may have, and so sometimes there's distractions. But even if there's not, there's just a lot of information.
There's a lot
in
of
a short period of
information.
time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us, through our experiences of being buyers,
Mhm.
that we recognize that there's a lot of stuff that's said
Mhm.
to get us to close,
Yeah.
but they don't really mean it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And so this is
Yeah.
why we want to go to the follow
This is
through
the
side. So
follow-up.
what I'm
Yeah.
calling follow through videos. Okay. So when you think about the difference between, I know in our business and car business, we talk a lot about follow up, follow up. I prefer the phrasing follow through. And that just means that, in this case, the customer bought the car a day delivery,
Mhm.
salesperson might have said something, somebody else said something about, how repairs are handled, but they thought, that's probably BS. They don't really do that,
Mhm.
because they're just trying to get me to agree to buy the car. So they're putting on their sales pitch. So now what I'd like to be able to do is start with follow through videos. And so the way this would work is maybe it's a YouTube video, it's a short video, but if you pick the top four as an example, top four subjects that you want to reinforce with the customer from the day they bought the car. Imagine on day one, customer bought the car.
That
Now they get
like
a
24 hours after the
right.
purchase of the car, or
Bought the
like,
car on a Tuesday. Now on Wednesday, they
Wednesday.
get a text message with a little short video link, and it's a 1 minute video.
And it doesn't have to be like studio quality. It can be
Mm-mm.
like a TikTok type thing.
Cell
It can be
phone
just a
video.
cell phone where they're seeing a face, hearing a voice.
And ideally, that's
yeah.
the account department or
Uh-huh.
customer advocate. If you're using that, we know that's a new concept that we just started
Or
rolling
the
out.
dealer themselves.
Or the dealer. It's like the idea is that we want to say to the customer, first of all, we're going to reinforce some of the key points that we talked about on the day of delivery.
So, and it's just one thing at a time, though.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
that's the point. Is that
Yeah.
if you can come up with like the top four things that you want to be able to emphasize,
Sure.
it's like we mean what we said.
Yeah.
Quick videos about that. So day one, 24
Day
hours,
one, maybe
you've
they
got
get a
your
video
first one.
Yeah. So a
Mhm.
video arrives and they open it, and in 30 seconds to 60 seconds, there's a short video that says, thanks again for coming to do business with us. This is one of 4 videos you're going to receive for the next few days. This is just to remind you how your warranty works. Don't forget you've got a deductible. Just don't remember that if there's a mechanical problem, this is how you deal with it, blah, blah, blah. And so within 60 seconds, we're just reinforcing what we talked about on day one.
And then like a day or two later, they get another one.
Probably. I would probably do them 4 consecutive days.
Yeah.
And basically just following through and reinforcing. And hey, don't forget, this is how and where you go to make payments. If there's ever a problem with the payment, this is who you're going to contact. And blah, you get the idea.
Yeah.
So it's just reinforcing the things that we already talked about. It's communicating again to the customer the things that were said at the time of delivery. But I think that follow through, it's one thing to say it on the day of delivery. When you're still saying it after delivery, now the customer starts saying, oh, they really meant it. Like that whole warranty thing, they meant it.
That's one of two things. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's cool,
Yeah.
because they may not have heard it,
Right.
or it didn't really sink in. But it's also, they really meant it. And I would say that the if you ever have a problem,
Mhm.
come and sit down and talk to us, because we are here to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes folks aren't doing these kind of things because it's, maybe not everybody out there is comfortable doing video. They don't know. I mean, you and I know we can run a video on our phone and post it to YouTube in seconds. And, it's a simple thing. But it's like, if you're not familiar with it, then it might feel uncomfortable, whatever. But we think it's important for people to get familiar with that piece.
Mhm.
And I also just, and the thing about somebody messed up, I think this is just a missed opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
we're just not taking advantage of the opportunity to really thoroughly communicate to the customer, both at the time of delivery and then after delivery, so they can see, hey, we mean it, we still mean it. And then the other beautiful thing about video is if you send a customer a video on day 2, then and that it's about how to make their payments, they can always refer to that. Even if they work a night shift and they need to make a payment at 3 a.m.,
It's
they
in
can
that
refer to
in
that
that
video.
text stream
Yeah,
or in that
it's
email
right there.
stream.
They can go
Now,
find it.
why video? Because I mean, we think, oh, we do a welcome call the day after, which we're not saying this needs to take the place of.
Sure.
But it's important to do the welcome call. But when calls are screened a lot more than a text message or
Sure.
an email.
Right.
And so, that is one of the first reasons
Right.
why we send it via email and or text. The second is why a video. And that's because I don't know if you guys, when you're going through and looking at your like your social media or whatever, is that people connect or they listen a lot better if there's a video attached. If you're getting an email and there's a quick video for you to watch in there instead of reading long script, they're going to watch the video.
Yeah,
You have a much higher likelihood of getting that information consumed
Right.
by our customer.
Absolutely. And,
Yeah.
it's just the nature of the way we consume anymore. And so if you started watching the video and
Hmm.
something came up and then you could pause the video and
Yeah.
resume whenever. But it's like that's going to be, and keep it short. Like I say, 30 to 60 seconds should be plenty. But it's just about following through on the things that we talked about at the time of delivery.
Hmm.
It makes it accessible for folks. And then, if you have to change policy, then you update the videos and you can put an expiration on every video you put out there, whatever. But it's like you might want to update policies at some point. But typically, obviously whatever you're having in the way of a warranty and deductible is going to apply.
Hmm.
Whatever the terms were at the time they bought the car,
Hmm.
that's what you're going to have out there. And you would just do a simple update if you made a change to those practices. But yeah, I think what we're really trying to enforce here is just communication. And, is there any data out there to prove at this point that leads to more success, that fewer repos? And, unfortunately, no, there's not any real good data. We hope that some of us will start to track that and measure that, and we can begin to prove it. But I think any dealer who, has a lot of experience in this space would say that this can only help.
And going back to the connection piece,
Mhm.
it used to be that the customer didn't have a choice but to come in and connect. They were the
Mhm.
ones that were initiating that connection
Right.
because they had to come in. They were coming in to make their payment. Well, now that burden is on us,
Mhm.
that we have to be the ones to come to them. We have
Right.
to be the ones to come to them. We have to be the ones to come to them.
Yeah.
And that's so that they are familiar with who we are, so that
Yeah.
when there is something that comes up, that even if it's not a face-to-face, they're coming in to make a payment. Hey, Jen.
Mhm.
Hello, Mr. Smith. It's so
Right.
great to see you again. That it may not be that kind of communication where, there's connection, but they're seeing a face. They're having some kind of a dialogue. And
Right.
in a way, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
In a
so
way.
that they're seeing and they're hearing and so it will help
Yeah.
with the connection with your customer or with our customers.
Mhm.
And this doing the videos, the 4 videos after the sale,
Mhm.
to reiterate and to solidify
Right.
that's a really great opportunity for those different videos you can put it on. A lot of these CRMs are pretty slick.
Right.
If not, you can, there's ways of being able to remember through calendaring, hey, we're going to send someone out something,
Right.
but reminding them of different things are tools that ways for them to be able to solve problems or all of those things. Now, going a step further beyond the just the actual closing in the first week, this is a really great tool. um Dealers out there, this is a really, really beautiful tool for you to use throughout the entire relationship of you
Absolutely.
with the customer, with your
Sure.
customer, because they when it's time for a payment and they're late and you start calling, that's when phone screening happens,
Yeah.
right? And so you're not able to get your message through to them
Mhm.
that we can help, give us a call. But if you send them a text message or something with a quick video in it, you're more likely to have your message expressed and
Yeah.
heard.
I think I would caution people about doing this much on the collection side because obviously we've got a different set of rules over there in terms of
True.
compliance. The language that we would choose would really need to be carefully, screened before it went out. But I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. Communication. I think what I would really be looking to do is through text messages from the dealership in this case, if approximately half of the messages are of positive nature. Hey, don't forget we're having our customer appreciation event, or we're having a webinar on how to maintain your vehicle, or whatever you're doing that is educational, it's positive. We're not only reaching out to the customer when they're past due on a payment.
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to create some proactive degree of communication. And the reason we like video, and by the way, George Pat threw in a comment there about the bilingual element,
Oh,
preferred
yeah.
language, which is really important. More to come on that, George. We've definitely got some things, that we're taking on in that regard. But I think we definitely see that opportunity, and we see that I think it's the part that I'm trying to really emphasize is the opportunity that we have through video to show authenticity. to to facial expression, body language, tone of voice, all those kind of things are just as relevant, and we're not taking advantage of that enough. And when I say taking advantage, I mean it's like being our real selves and having a chance to express to the customer what is true. And now we just have a better chance to connect with them in a different way. So that's really the key thing.
And I wanted to clarify a little bit, when I talked about you're having a hard time reaching them, they might not be for a late payment or whatever. What if a video went out that just not necessarily, a video that went out that said, you know what, we understand that sometimes things get a little rough. If you ever need any help, please come and talk to us because we might be able to help. That
Maybe.
kind of thing.
Sure. I mean, I think there's no harm in those things. I think you can, some of that stuff can be embedded at your website or whatever, and you can send a link or whatever when customers are, having difficulties, they can find resources at your website. But yeah, I think it's all just kind of intended as much as anything. For today, it was really just about the follow through piece, like continuation of whatever you talked about the day of closing, follow through on that so they can see, hey, here's a little bite-sized thing. What we said on the day of delivery, we really mean it. And if you need anything, here's where you find it. And it just, to me, says a really strong message to the customer to say, we mean what we say. We're still here for you, even after you sign the contract. You know what I mean? And so it's just a way to have some level of continuity there and to improve communication, because we want the customer, we don't want to set them up to fail. We want to communicate as clearly as possible, make sure they know how to solve a problem. Because I would often say that customers in our segment often, and it's true across other segments too, I'm sure, but with our particular customer base, often they don't know how to solve their own problem. And this is a way that we can just put the information right in front of them. If you run across a problem you're not sure how to solve, here's exactly who you talk to, and here's how you go about solving that problem. So
I would also say before you, choose your 4 is also have a conversation with either your manager over collections or your collections team and saying, what are the things? Are there things that you feel like would be helpful for us to communicate with them shortly after closing?
So
that will help them be more successful.
Open to ideas. We're out there sharing ideas all the time. Just a quick acknowledgement. I see Corpus Christi, that's bound to be GR Moore. Thanks for tuning in. Sergio Valdez in the Houston area. Glad you tuned in this morning. I see Matt Ruckel will be in Arizona with us. We'll see Matt with, I think Matt's with Buckeye now, right? Chime in there if you're still listening, Matt. Tell me for sure. I know that Matt and I determined that we have an Oklahoma State University connection in common. I see he's got Kansas City Chiefs on his profile pic there. So, but yeah, we're that's right. Okay,
that must have been Corpus Christi right there.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I don't have anything else for today.
It's a little bit short. We're giving you a couple minutes back on your day, just a few. Thanks so much for listening in, guys. We really, really appreciate everyone that enjoys what it is that we're trying to do, and we love getting feedback and we love getting suggestions for things that you might really want to hear a conversation about. So
any feedback, if you have positive feedback, send that to me. If it's negative, send that on over to Michelle and she will bring it to me gently.
All right, everyone, have a great rest of your week and we will see you on Friday. All right, have a great day.